So this is the command post of the West Cork Brigade Flying Column IRA. So this is where Tom Barry would have stood when 2 auxiliary trucks came up from the Macroom direction. So they would have come across from this road up along heading to Dunman Way. And Tom Barry stopped. He stopped the trucks as he was dressed in an IRA uniform, which looked similar to the British uniform. So it was to trick the drivers into thinking there was an accident, which it did work. So they slowed down, and when that occurred, Tom Barry threw a Mills bomb into the driver's cabin of the truck, killing the first 2. And he also blew a whistle, and that was a signal for the Section 1 IRA to fire down onto the first truck, and up ahead, which will walk to Section 2, they were to fire on the second truck. Now and then across the way is half of Section 3. So Section 3 was hidden there. So when the firing started, if the soldiers decided to jump out and hide on that side, they could fire and they couldn't get cover behind the trucks. And then the second half of Section 3 was hidden back in case there was a third truck. So they weren't sure. They knew there was definitely 2, but possibly 3 auxiliaries. And now the auxiliaries were specifically targeted because of their actions during Bloody Sunday, attacking Crow Park after the events of the Easter morning, or of Bloody Sunday morning. So the auxiliaries, there had been engagements of Black and Tans and RIC and regular British soldiers, but there hadn't been any successful engagements against the auxiliaries. So they wanted to set a precedent. Now the 3rd West Cork Brigade Flying Column had only come under Tom Barry's command in October 1920, so he only had them a couple of weeks. And if I remember correctly what his plan was, so just see if we can see it now. There's a small cross. I don't know if it'll come up on a computer screen. But his plan was to train them in the field. So they would practice engagements, and then without the men going back to their homes, they would go out and attack ambush. So they were finely tuned when they were attacking, and that led to successful engagements such as Kilmichael. There was also other ones such as the Cross Barry escape, or Ross Carberry. But there was an ambush anyway, at least in one of them. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. So Section 2 would have been here. So this is Section 2, West Cork Brigade IRA. So what had occurred was there was close quarter fights up at the first truck. The command post was Tom Barry along with 3 other soldiers, and I believe there were 6. I can't remember the exact number of men in Section 1. They fought and killed, ambushed at least, the first truck and killed them quickly. And then down at Section 2, the men had stopped a little further back, so Section 3 couldn't really get firing positions on them. So Section 1 was firing on one truck themselves. So then Tom Barry ordered Section 1 to move up along the tree line, while he and the men from the command post moved up along the road. So there's some controversy over the auxiliaries giving a false surrender. Tom Barry recalls that a number of them called for surrender, so they stopped firing, the IRA stopped firing, and a number of men stood up from their hiding positions and then were fired upon. So Tom Barry gave the order to keep firing and not stop until he told them. And there's a couple of other reports that possibly didn't occur, that he just told the men to keep firing and kill everyone within the ambush site. But that was just a quick walkthrough of the Kilmichael ambush. So the command post, Section 1, Section 2 behind me, Section 3 over behind those trees, can't see them now, and the other half of Section 3 was up here. So it resulted in at least 17 auxiliaries being killed. It was believed that 1 survived, and 2 members of the IRA ambush party were killed. And this is the plaque for Kilmichael. So it reads, they shall be spoken of among their people, the generations shall remember them and call them blessed. Well, Irish Republican Army, Uglik na Haireann. Unfortunately, that's in Irish. But I think it's just commemorating 28 November, Saman, 28 November 1920. So this was commemorated, this was built in 1966, so it was almost 50 years from the 1916 Easter Rising. So that's section 1, or section 2, and then so you follow this path. So the first half of section 3 is the only one you can't reach. There's these little posts, these give you a bit more insight into the ambush, what happened. See if I can get up here now. So yeah, Kilmichael was a very important event because the auxiliaries had been seen as untouchable and they'd been causing lots of issues in the West Cork area, but having this group almost wiped out, started turning the tide a bit, and also gave the IRA obviously a lot of confidence to carry out further attacks. And obviously the road is, and the flora and fauna has all kind of changed a lot since then. The road would have been much narrower and there was much less coverage, I believe. And this would have been second half of section 3. So don't forget, these people would have been firing with rifles. So that would have been the second truck. Second truck would have been in this area. Section 2 over here. Now this cross is to commemorate one of the soldiers, one of the IRA men who were killed. Now you'll see, this is a bit dodgy. This cross marks the spot where Jim O'Sullivan, erected by his brother Con and Connor Dineen, husband of Jim's niece Joanne. So the cross commemorates one of the men. So there you have it, just a quick walkthrough of the Kilmichael ambush. See you in the next one.